Today's episode is brought to you by Big Cartel. Are you ready to turn your creativity into a business and sell your work online? Big Cartel is an e-commerce platform where artists, crafters, and independent sellers make money doing what they love. With no listing fees or commission, budget-friendly plans, and real human customer support, Big Cartel makes it simple and affordable to start and grow your creative business online. Open your store on the free plan, no credit card required, and scale as you grow. Visit bigcartel.com/Craft Industry Alliance to get started. Thank you so much, Big Cartel. And now, here's the show. Welcome to episode 276 of the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Craft Industry Alliance is a community for craft professionals where you can strengthen your creative business, stay up to date on industry news, and build connections within our supportive trade association. Check it out at craftindustyalliance.org. Today on the show, we're talking about owning a yarn store with my guest, Sara Ingle. Sara founded Boston Fiber Company, a local yarn store in Boston's South End neighborhood, in 2022. Now finishing its second year, the store focuses on indie-dyed yarn, supporting local crafters, and fostering a strong community through numerous low-cost and free events and groups. The Boston Fiber Company team, currently consisting of 3 people, is dedicated to making fiber arts accessible to all. Looking ahead, Sara and her team are working on organizing a fiber festival for the neighborhood, and they're now dyeing their own yarn to offer to customers. I'm so pleased to be here visiting Boston Fiber Company today in person. Thank you so much for welcoming me to your shop, Sara.
Thanks for being here.
And you're also one of our scholarship awardees, so congratulations
Thank you
to you on that. We're very excited to have you as a craft industry member this year. So, all right, so we're going to go back a little bit. This shop is totally gorgeous, and I really want to get to the story of how it came.
Yeah.
But let's go back to where you grew up. Did you grow up in the Boston area?
No, so I grew up in Connecticut, but my mom is from Boston, so we were back and forth here all the time. My family lives here now. So it kind of seemed like a natural next step. Yeah.
Okay. And were you crafty as a kid?
I was. So my grandma taught me to knit when I was little, like 5-ish. And I kind of was crafty on and off throughout high school, like middle school. Yeah. I mean, I was a big reader, which I feel like reading and crafting kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what was your first knitting project? Do you remember what your grandma taught you?
I'm sure it was a scarf. Okay. A really bad scarf.
A terrible scarf, as many of our first knitting projects end up being. Yeah. Okay. And so did you kind of take to knitting right away? Was it something that you continued to do on your own?
I think a little bit, and then I would go through phases of being really into it. So I really distinctly remember in like late middle school, early high school, being like really into making people scarves with like beaded yarn. I was like, or like the fuzzy yarn. I like really, really remember doing that. But I don't think it wasn't something I consistently did. And like in college, I would try to, I like remember buying yarn for a sweater because I thought I could make a sweater. I could not. And I probably still have that yarn somewhere. So I always loved yarn, but I wasn't always consistently knitting. And then after graduating college, I had like more free time and a little bit more income. So I could buy yarn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So why did you go to college to study? What did you think you wanted to be?
So I went to college for music. I played the cello, but I wanted to do music history. So technically my degree is in music history. And I originally thought I was going to be a professor. And then I got into writing. I went to grad school for creative writing. Okay. I was going to be a writer and, still a writer, but not at the same level.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, when you graduated, what did you do? What was your first job? And also, were you always kind of entrepreneurial? Some kids are like always trying to sell things and set up a little business, or were you not like that?
I wasn't really like that. My dad had his own business, so I always kind of worked for my dad.
What
on
kind
and
of business
off.
did
He does indexing. So he just puts indexes in books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like a cool niche job.
And honestly, indexes are super important.
Yeah, they're really, really important and you need them. And yeah, my dad is the person who does some of them.
That's really cool. Okay, so you were right. He has his own company?
He has his own company and he had his own office for a while. He worked out of the house my whole growing up and then he got his own office building. So like so I've seen how a business was run. I wasn't like really into doing my own thing. But then I got, when I graduated from college, I moved to Boston and I got a job at Anthropologie and I really love retail.
Yeah. And Anthropologie is beautiful retail.
Beautiful retail. And I learned a lot from Anthropologie, like even just, like I think there are lots of ways that the Anthro, like some of the like internal stuff at Anthro where like you're moving things all the time. We do that here. And that honestly influenced me more than anything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, tell me a little bit more about that. So what kinds of things, first of all, what does moving things all the time mean? And then what other kinds of things from the Anthro experience did you learn? Either like, I really would love to keep doing that or I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely things like with employee treatment that I don't want to do. So there are things like we would work like 9-hour days. You had to wear heels, like, you know.
had to wear heels.
You had to wear heels or like a little, like you couldn't wear sneakers. So you're just so uncomfortable all the time. You couldn't sit. So I knew like in that I didn't want to foster that environment. Like I wanted, and like it's easier also in a tiny business to like let my employees sit and knit for a little bit.
Yeah. And you've got comfy couches.
Yeah.
Your total square footage here is like much, much smaller than
Oh, yeah. So so you can sit on the couch and knit and also work at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah. Okay. So you didn't want to do that.
I didn't want to do that, but I love, Anthro, like basically once a week, they shift the whole store around. They'll move less. They'll do big shifts like every season or something. But we would like get there like 3 hours before the store opened every day and like move things around and work on like displays and stuff. And I think it kept things really interesting and people really excited. And I have found like in our store when we move things around, luckily my one of my employees, Genevieve, they also love moving things around. And so we work together really well in that we can be like, okay, today we're moving this. Like probably today we're going to move like one of the tables. We'll move things around today. And it just keeps things looking fresh so we can have all the same stuff, but then you're noticing things you don't always see.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
I mean, it's work, but it's also sort of creative at the same time.
Yeah. And like making things like I learned a lot about like how you like create a display. So like at Anthro, there were 2 different ways you made a display. And one was like kind of a more organized way where you had like a line of candles and then you'd have like 6 candles. You have like 3, they all match.
Okay.
But then there's also an organic display where you kind of build up from like the bottom. So you're kind of like creating like a flower. That's what they would say. Like you're creating a flower with the candles, but then building up. So it looks like a little bit more homey, like a little bit more comfortable, a little less corporate retail. And so I think like I like that vibe, like bringing in Anthro is very corporate, but bringing in a less corporate vibe.
Yeah. I always feel like when I go into Anthropologie, it's like going into an art store in some way.
Yeah.
There's going to be, a lot of their displays are also handmade.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
So cool. Yeah.
And they mix things really well. So on one table, there'll be books mixed with jewelry, mixed with sweaters, like it's all kind of very artfully put together and mixed. And so I never thought about the fact that it's changing all the time. That's a really interesting thing to notice.
Yeah, I really liked it. And I like they do, and kind of things are themed together. So I don't know if they still do this, but when I was there, they would pick like basically like a person. And it would be like, she does this, but she doesn't do this. She likes this, but she doesn't like this.
Almost like a avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. But it was like, she also had a backstory. So like one of the years I was there, it was like her grandma lived in the south of France and died and left her a house. And like, these are the things that were in her grandma's house. And this is what she wears to the house. Wow. And so stuff like that. And so like building up. So we have like, right now I don't have a good example in the store because we had like a big crazy weekend, but we did like, so we had like our Halloween table. And so like everything on that table is Halloween-y, but it's not necessarily all yarn, and it's not all yarn. It's all yarn you could use in a Halloween project, but it's not necessarily, just stuff like that. Yeah. Trying to create like a vibe
Yeah. Which takes a lot of thought.
Yeah.
We had at H&H Americas, which is the trade show, we actually had an anthropology merchandiser.
Cool.
She did two different things. One was a lecture, but then one was like a hands-on workshop where she got yarn and fabric and books from different exhibitors. And then she worked with a group of 15 and they made this big sort of anther style display.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like really cool. I feel like I learned so much when I was there just about, how to organize things and move things around. And yeah.
Okay. All right. So how long were you there for?
I was there for 5 years.
Okay.
So it was a while.
Yeah.
I was, it was, I was just a sales associate because I went to grad school. And so I was thinking about being a manager, but I always kind of thought in another life I wanted to be like a buyer for anthropology.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's such a cool job.
So what did you do after that? Did you decide to open your own store or was there steps in between?
There are lots of steps in between.
Okay.
So I quit Anthro. Well, my plan was I quit Anthro. I was going to write full time and work for my dad part time.
Okay.
And then I cannot sit in an office and I can't work from home. It's really hard. And so then I was just kind of like, I'm going to go spend a day in the South End in Boston. And there's a yarn and bead and fiber was here.
Bead and Fiber was a store that was in this space.
So it was, not this exact space. Okay. They were in another space across the way, but same, like literally across the street from us.
Okay. And what kind of store was that? So
it was yarn and beading. And it kind of like, it was really like, it was a small space and it was very half and half. So it was kind of like all the bead people wanted more beads. All the yarn people wanted more yarn.
It was hard to make anybody happy.
Yeah. Which is, it's just hard to do that in a small space. And they did like beading classes. And so I came in I walked in and the person who owned it then worked at Anthro with me one Christmas. So she was like, I'm looking for a knitting teacher. And I was like, great, I knit. And so I started working for her a couple days a week and then that got more and more. And then we kind of were like, we're going to be business partners. Cause I came in and I was like, this is great, but like, you need to teach your employees how to say hi to people and we need to like zone things like anthropology and we need to work on displays.
Saw things about that shop that could be
I was just like, I kind of like
or changed,
bulldozed. Yeah. And it was a great, like the vibe at the shop was great. And so it was just like bringing in new stuff and also like one person running a bead and yarn shop, I think was really hard to make it. So like I came in kind of on the yarn side. Like I don't know that much about beads. I learned a lot.
Sure.
Yeah. And then so I worked there for 4 years. And then in 2022, we kind of like weathered the COVID lockdown stuff together. And then
did you buy into that business so that you were partners with?
No.
Okay.
So originally I was going to buy into the business. And then I was like, this is really hard to do beads and yarn together.
Right. You were not super on board with the whole structure. Okay.
Yeah. And I think like there were lots of things I wanted to do. It was hard to do without being the person in charge. Sure. And I wanted to spend more money on yarn.
Yeah.
Really, it was like, it came down to like, I wanted more yarn in the store. And we didn't have the budget because we had to also buy other things. And it's also like there are knitters who use beads in their knitting, but I have noticed there's like a big difference between knitting people and beading people, or like knitting, crafting, fiber craft people and bead craft people. So we'd have like these two totally different
kinds of customers
who were unsatisfied because it wasn't enough.
Difference or just a mindset or just budget?
Mindset, budget. Because like, so some of the beading customers, like they're working on things. It's just a different, I don't know. It's a different
pace of.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's like a totally
projects that you're making, like quilting is really different, for example, from yarn. And there's a lot of shops that have both.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of differences there to sort of reach.
Yeah. And I was surprised by how little crossover there was between those customers. Like customers who wanted beads didn't want the yarn, and customers who wanted yarn were like, well, you have so many beads. I guess you don't sell yarn. We'd be like, no, we sell yarn. There's actually like just as much yarn as there is beads. So it ended up being that so the old owner kind of wanted to get out of it.
This was after COVID.
After COVID.
Okay.
I think she was feeling a little burnt out by it.
COVID was a lot.
And like we lasted through it, but it was rough. It wasn't easy. And it was definitely, and I was like, I want to put time and effort into a business, but I also want it to be the business that I want it to be.
Right.
So, and I had been working there and I had kind of built up like sweat equity and used that to purchase the yarn inventory. So I didn't buy the business outright. I just bought the inventory.
Okay. So she was
And
ready
then-
to move on.
Yeah.
You were like, I'll take the yarn inventory
Yeah.
off your hands
Yeah.
when you're closing.
Yeah, basically. And then she was leaving the space too. So I got the space and I basically subletted for a year in the old space.
Because she still had a lease.
Yeah. And so
that probably helped her,
yeah,
actually.
I think it did. And it was really nice for us because we didn't have to go through all of the like kind of like painful stuff starting a business, like applying for leases and like loans. You know, it worked out that I didn't have to borrow that much money. I could use like a lot of my savings, and like I did like a Kickstarter and raised like a couple $1,000s that way. And like that just helped get everything going.
And you had at that point, a year later, a proven thing.
Yeah. So then when we moved over here, it was like, well, we know we can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were across the way. And by the way, let's describe where we are. Because this is a very little unique stretch of Boston.
Yeah.
If you've never been to Boston or you've never been to the South End, like you may not know what this is. So just describe where we are.
So we are it's the SOA district. They're kind of trying to make it like cool, hip Soho. But it's just, it's the art and design part of Boston. So there are a ton of galleries, little shops. There's like living spaces. We're kind of like on the edge, I would say, of the South End. And it's like an interesting place to be here. And it's all old paper mills. I think it's all old paper mills. And then, they converted into artist studio spaces and apartments and other shops. And then there's also a big power station where they do like big markets and events. So there's always stuff going on. There's a market here every Sunday too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's foot traffic because you're not by yourself.
Yeah.
There's all of these little shops that if you're interested in what you have for sale, you're probably going to be interested in the shops next door and across the way as well. And then if you're here for the market, you'll probably want to extend your stay and walk in. So that's a very helpful location.
Yeah. The market is wonderful for us. They also bring in like food trucks and farmers markets, and it's so nice because there's always something to do. So when we have our group, we have a Sunday, Coffee and Crafts is our Sunday group. And that's really nice because people can go get their groceries or get like lunch and bring it. And it's like busy and there's lots to do over here.
Right. It makes a whole outing a day.
So you're not going to like kind of like a dark space, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Okay. All right. So you said you had moved across the street. What was wrong with the space you had, or you just, the sublet was done and you needed to move in?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a smaller space. So it was about half the size of the space we're in now. Oh, and it was beautiful. It was all windows, which is great for looks and not great for merchandising a store. You need walls, basically. There was like nowhere to put yarn. So we were all kind of squeezed in, and our, especially like our groups were growing so much that people would be sitting like in front of the yarn. So nobody could shop. It got really crowded. And then our lease was up, and they also, because it's a like prime corner spot with lots of windows, they were raising the rent a lot. And this was a much cheaper space to be in, and it's bigger, and we have a patio, and it's also really nice to be with. So over there in the other spot, we were just surrounded by like furniture showrooms and galleries. So it wasn't like they weren't businesses that were open all the time. And so I didn't get to get like I talked to people, but it wasn't as much of like a retail, like, you know, knowing all the retail stores, you get kind of a fun, like, I don't know, hangout family type thing. Like it's like we're friends down here and it's really nice. So to be with the other retail stores is just so much easier. And it's also nice to be able to go over and be like, are you having a really bad day? I'm having a really bad day. Like, are you having a really good day? You're having a really good day. And I couldn't do that. Like with a gallery and a furniture store, it's not the same type of walk-in business.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're in this little strip here. I want to take a minute now to talk about our sponsor, Big Cartel. Selling your handmade goods online doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. That's where Big Cartel comes in. Founded back in 2005 as a place for bands to sell their merch, Big Cartel's e-commerce platform has since helped millions of artists, crafters, and independent brands sell their goods. Big Cartel is independently owned, with a customer support team made up of real humans who are standing by to help you from the moment of creation of your online store and beyond, so you can focus on what you love, making things. They offer free, customizable templates to help your brand shine and bring your products to life. You can sell online through your own web store or in person through the Big Cartel app, which is great for selling at holiday markets and craft fairs. And you get to control your profits. They never charge listing fees or commission fees, just 3 affordable plan options, including one that's completely free. Whether you're a seasoned handmade business or just starting out, Big Cartel is there to help you profit from your passion. Visit bigcartel.com/Craft Industry Alliance to open your web store for free. No credit card required, and bring your creative business to life. Thank you so much, Big Cartel. And now back to the show. Do you ever collaborate with those other businesses that are on this little stretch?
We do. So, I mean, I'm pretty new, so I haven't done too much, but we're trying to do more events, bringing in especially for market days, bringing more people over to us too is especially important to us. So bringing in, we usually do like some vendors out here. We've done, there's a studio, like a kids craft studio. I've done classes there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned, and I mentioned in the intro as well, that you have a lot of groups.
Yeah.
And so I wondered if you could talk about building community, because I think that, obviously we live in this e-commerce.
Yeah.
And, a store maybe used to be able to win customers based on their inventory. That's no longer the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way that you can have the inventory of an e-commerce store.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to win on other things.
Yeah.
One of those is community. So talk a little bit about the efforts that you've made to build community here.
Yeah. I mean, so we have 2 very strong, like crafting, knitting, crochet groups. I would say it's mostly knitters and crocheters, but we've had people doing like needlepoint or embroidery. We have somebody who does origami. And we started off, so I started off doing, in the old store at Bead and Fiber, I did a Sip and Stitch, which was like the Friday night one. And they started doing it and it was okay, but it was hard to get it out there. And I didn't enjoy it. I used to like really kind of dread looking forward to it, but I was like, that's something I want to keep doing. I want to keep building that community once we're our own store. And I think because we became a knitting store and not a beading store, we got so many more people who are like knitting and crocheting and that I think just built, like the community built itself, I think. And then focusing, especially for us, on like being a queer-owned shop, and we had some queer crafting nights that just brought in more people and got people more excited. I'd say we're very like young space, so I think there's just like a lot of word of mouth and social media that goes into it. That's just really nice. Yeah, they're a cool crew.
Yeah, right. And then people too look in the window, I'm sure, and they're like, oh wow, there's like people sitting around on couches, looking like they're having a really good time. I want to be part of, like, I feel FOMO, I want to come in.
We've definitely had people on like a Sunday too who are like traveling, and they come in and they are, do their yarn shop that they're traveling to, but they have a couple hours to kill, so they'll join the group for a couple hours. We've been pretty intentional about trying to make the group really welcoming to new people, because there is like a solid crew that are here for every event. There's, probably a dozen people who are here all the time, and then just letting that expand into people who don't come as often, or somebody who's just in town.
So then they don't feel like they're intruding on a friend group. Yeah, which can also be a little bit awkward.
Yes.
And what about like when somebody does enter the shop? Because, you hear these sort of horror stories. Oh, I went into this store, nobody's talked to me. And, or they were rude and they're following me around and thinking I was going to steal something or whatever. So I don't know if you have ways that you train your employees, or just think about what to do when somebody opens that door.
Yeah. I mean, I am very adamant that everyone is greeted at the door, and in like some way, usually it's just like a, hey, what's up? Or whatever, just in a friendly way.
Mm-hmm.
I find that like the hardest thing to train is just be like, you have to be nice. But mostly it's pretty easy. But that's like definitely from Anthro being like every person that comes through the door you're supposed to say hi to.
Okay.
And also like in like a loss prevention way, just like letting people know you see them is a huge way to prevent loss prevention.
That's
and I don't
true.
think like people are coming in and stealing yarn. I've noticed like a couple things have been stolen like over 2 years, which is nothing. But we do, you know, just to let people know, like we see them. Yeah, we're here. And, you know, I don't want to like hound, you know, finding the balance too between hounding people and also making it known that you're there for questions.
Right.
You know, you're a friendly person who can be asked questions.
And you have a ton, I noticed, of Google reviews.
Yes.
And Google reviews are really important.
Yeah.
Local businesses, they're often the first place, especially if somebody's traveling to a new city, that they go to see where they should visit. You know, they go to that Google review and they say, oh, that yarn shop isn't friendly. I'm not going.
Yeah.
Or where should I go?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have a strategy for, number one, getting those Google reviews, and number two, responding when you have that, of course, that one customer who's like, I had a bad time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we have a kind of I am really bad at asking for reviews, which is the thing I have to get better at. And right now we do like, so most of the reviews are like organic reviews. We also had a problem where for some reason because I think we had the same address as the old store, our reviews were merged with their reviews.
Oh, wow.
And our descriptions were merged, and I can't figure out how to change it.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 years of fighting with Google. Mm-hmm. So there are some bad reviews from the old store.
The old store.
Yeah. And we have gotten, I mean, you know, everybody gets bad reviews. Yeah. We got one. I mean, also like I internalize everything. That's so like we get a bad review and I'm like, I'm just going to think about it forever.
Right.
And usually my response to a bad review, the like couple times we've had one, well, it's hard because sometimes you get a 1-star review and there's no review.
Right.
It's like, well, I want to be like, what can I do? Yeah. But I think we had somebody who was like, the prices were really high and I can't remember. They said the prices were really high and like maybe people weren't friendly, which I was like, I'm so sorry. So like I respond with like, I'm so sorry you had a bad experience. We carry things in a range of prices. And we have like a sales section where everything's $5. We do lots of discounts. We also have like inexpensive yarn. Like we sell a little bit of universal yarn. And so there's like in Cascade and there's a range of prices. Not everything's $35.
Right.
So
I think it's important to respond.
Yeah.
Reviews because it makes it, I don't know, from the reader perspective, feel as though the person cares.
Yeah.
And wants to, you know, do the right thing for that person.
Yeah. And like, even though,
upset.
Yeah. My immediate response is always like, well, get out of my store. But like, I'm not going to do that online. I'm not going to fight with them.
No. But I think it also makes the 5-star reviews feel more authentic.
Yeah.
When there is somebody who wasn't happy.
Yeah.
You know, if it's all 5 stars, you start to think, is this real?
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. So I think that's important. So let's talk a little bit about inventory. And you mentioned different price points.
Yeah.
Price points are really important because, you know, a lot of people, when they start a new craft, the first thing they do is go to one of the mass retailers, Joanne or Michael's probably in this case, and buy acrylic, the cheapest, you know, materials because they don't know if they like it yet and they don't know if they're good at it and stuff. So they start there and they may not even know too that there are such things as local stores or differences in the quality of materials. Yeah. And so then somehow they like it, they get introduced to it, somebody brings them into a local yarn store and it's like, look what's here. But at the same time, maybe they're still not investing, you know, hundreds of dollars into a brand new hobby. So
yeah. I mean, in Boston specifically, I think we get so many college students.
Yes.
So you have so many people who are like young professionals who are like, I will buy a sweater's quantity of yarn that's $30 a skein because like I have an income and I, know I'm going to make this. And I think they're not experimenting in the way that college students are with like what they're making and what they're doing. And they might, and like when I was in college, right, I like bought yarn that I never used, or I started a project and like put it aside and it's just in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I want everyone to feel welcome too. And like also like I have, you know, being a business owner, like my personal income isn't super high. So like I'm not, so I try to be like mindful of what people can afford. And we have expensive yarn. Like we have some yarn that's like $50 a skein, but we also, I try to carry some like brands like Blue Sky Fibers and Cascade and Universal Yarn are all, Blue Sky is kind of in the middle, but Universal and Cascade are a lower price point, and that's really nice. We also do a donation section, so people can bring their yarn and donate full skeins, and we sell each skein for $5. So, and it could be anything. Like we've had indie dyed yarn in there, and then also like Lion Brand.
Just people destashing because they just don't want to. Yeah. I mean, it's good for you to destash.
We get a lot of people when they move, they'll drop off. Like we've gotten bins and bins of yarn, and sometimes we get like scraps.
Yeah.
But that's fine too. For the sales section, we don't put anything out that doesn't have a label or at least a tag with it. If it's rolled up and might have a tag inside of it, we'll put it in there. But we usually try to do you're getting a full skein in the sales section. But then we do kind of like you can buy like little 20-gram skeins too, which mostly people buy for darning.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then what about locally produced products or products that are very New England centric, Boston centric? Because you mentioned earlier that sometimes for the groups, people are visiting Boston.
Yeah.
Boston's a common place for people to visit, either because they're tourists and we've got great American history here in Boston, or they're looking at colleges, or grad schools. That's also a common reason that you come here. So when people come, you know, I'm that kind of person that if I'm in a new city, I want to go see the craft store because that's part of my visit.
Yeah, same.
And then when you're there, you want to buy something that's going to be like a memento of your visit.
Yeah, so we do. I also came into doing a yarn store with that mentality. Like I like going to other cities and buying yarn. We also get a lot of people at conferences. I'd say a lot of our yarn tourists are people on conferences.
That's funny.
Yeah, which is really funny.
Have some good.
They need something.
Themselves.
Yeah, they need something.
They're here for that biotech conference.
Yeah. Every so often, I'm like, should I be advertising in conference handouts?
It's like, hey, get some creativity in. Your free hour.
And so it's kind of fun because we'll get like a group of like 3 people will come in and it'll be like, we're all at this when somebody was it was like a medical trauma conference. Sure. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah, they need some time in the yarn store if they're at
I was like, welcome in.
Conference.
Yes. So we have a ton of local people. We also we've started dyeing our own yarn. So we have, I don't do the dyeing. I have one of my employees, McKenna, who has her own line of yarn too. She started dyeing on her own and then she was working for me and I was like, you should dye yarn for me. So I tried dyeing yarn on my own. I'm not good at it. And it's just not for me. But, so we kind of started off slow. We did like one colorway and then we kind of did some more based on our logo colors. So we had like a pink and a blue. And then we expanded we did like a pride collection. And then we also worked with Bat and Kill Fiber Mill to get, this merino Romney yarn. It was in the works for a long time. And we put it out first this like a month ago, this past September. And that is, the merino isn't local, but the Romney is local. So it's like our most local yarn. Like the wool is local, 50% local. It's dyed locally. And so that's usually what I tell people. I'm like, this is from us. This is the local yarn. But then we also carry a lot of local dyers. So Dirty Water Dye Works, she's like a huge, just local person. Everybody knows her. She's great and wonderful to work with. And McKenna, who dyes our yarn, we carry some of hers. She's Honey and Quill. And then like Unit I Dye is out of Braintree. We just have a lot of people local, and it's been really nice to also build up our community of local vendors. There's also like Wild Violet, East Coast Yarn. I'm trying to think of who else I'm missing. Rhapsody Fiber Arts. And it's just like a cool crew of people that we can get from it. And some of our kits are local. So we have like our felting kits are from a local person. We have some local stickers. Yeah, and try to like, we have a couple like local designers that we work with, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And have you, I mean, I think managing inventory is such a puzzle.
Yeah.
And it's easy to go wrong, especially when you're new.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you would mind sharing if there were any things that were like mistakes that you made early on where you realized, oh, wait, I can't buy this way.
Yeah. Well, so yeah. I can really talk about that. I feel like right now I'm in this, like we finished our second year and I feel like I'm now like learning how to buy yarn. When I first opened, I just bought everything because I was so excited.
Right.
And I didn't want to say no to anybody.
Yeah.
Because it sucks to say no.
Yeah.
And so there's like yarn that I bought, and I also would buy colors based on what I liked.
Yeah.
Which is fun for me. But like and even in like the yarn I like buying is like hot pink, multicolored, neons, like crazy stuff like that. But actually, even what I wear isn't that. What I wear
right.
is
You're wearing gray.
Yeah. And that's what I wear. I wear gray and black and sometimes brown.
Yeah.
And occasionally a hot pink shirt. And like, that's it. So I like learning to, so I've been kind of setting a color scheme that I buy in for that's been helping me guide me, and also just like a budget, which is hard to do. It's hard to do a budget because I want to buy all the yarn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm betting you still have yarn from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's not turned yet.
Yeah. That's why we have a big sales section.
Right. Yeah.
And it's fine. It's from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're also, there's some of it we're going to make. We're like doing some machine knit hats. So we're going to try to sell this winter out of some of that yarn just to like use it. But yeah, it was tough at first, and now I'm learning. And also like I am cutting down on what we're carrying really so I can focus on our local people, and then also some of the like less expensive, bigger brands. Just to make things like, so we have like a real good selection of like hand-dyed local yarn, and then also a really good selection of beautiful, less expensive,
Basics.
not hand-dyed yarn. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. And then what about other stuff? Like what about books and that kind of thing? And magazines? How is that stuff selling?
I would say actually books do really well. I love buying books.
Well, you're a big reader.
I'm a big reader.
Yeah.
And we started carrying a few knitting mysteries, which has been really fun. Just like to have some fiction in here, but the books do well. It's kind of funny. We had them on, how do we have them? We had them alphabetically organized with books. Been learning a lot about how to display the books. And we had them like alphabetically organized on a bookshelf.
Okay.
And nothing sold.
Okay.
People didn't want to pull them off the bookshelf. And then, so this is like,
kind of like a library where it was alphabetical.
And then we started organizing it by color, which really feels counterintuitive to me, but that kind of worked. And then I started doing the intro thing of putting them with similar stuff. And now we sell so many books. So that has really helped.
That's a great tip.
It is also, though, I have like regular customers who are like, well, I can't find any books in your store because they're not organized.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, but people are buying them now. So, and if it's like your regular customer, you can be like, well, just tell me what book you're looking for and I'll go find it for you.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually regulars, they're people who like us anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. They're open to
getting
help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about classes? So you have a pretty small space.
Yes.
Do you know what the square footage is in here?
Well, it's 1,200 square feet, but that includes part of our patio and the hallway in the back.
Okay. So not really.
I mean, maybe we measured, I want to say we're probably closer to like 900 square feet.
Right.
So it's
it's a small urban store. So for people who are imagining it or thinking of opening a store.
We're a long rectangle.
You're right. It's a long rectangle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's 2 couches, which is where we're sitting in the back, but not necessarily a classroom space.
Yeah. So we usually try to do classes after the store is closed.
Okay.
We do sometimes, we'll have like weekend ones that are during the day. And we just do them on the couches back here or at the table if it's something you need to like sit at a table for. We usually try to keep our dining. We have our long dining table. We try to keep looking cute but clear so that we can set people up there really easily. And they're definitely trying to build up classes more.
Yeah. And then you're not the only yarn store in Boston. I mean, Boston's a big, big city.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of space
Yeah.
for lots of other businesses to be here. I don't know how you sort of, the ecosystem of other yarn shops in the city or surrounding the city, how you sort of function within that or.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I always send people to other, because there's some like, we don't, there are some brands we don't carry.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to send people to other yarn stores. I feel like if it's good for one of us, it's good for all of us type of thing. Like we're all in this, there's enough room for all of us to be here. And I mean, I honestly think we could use another yarn store in Boston. I mean, not in the South End, but Boston's really big. And I think there could be another yarn store in Boston and it would just be like, we all carry such different stuff. It doesn't feel like competition. And then we also do the yarn crawl together every year. So it is like a thing where we interact with people. I don't know everybody personally, but like we all interact.
How does the yarn crawl work? And for folks who've never participated in one, either as a shop owner or as a consumer, how does that work?
So it is there's 14 stores.
Wow.
In the greater Boston area. So some of them are further out. But we basically get together. I think the first time we got together for this year, so the yarn crawl for this year was last weekend. We got together in, I want to say like May or June to start planning for this year.
Is that physically got together? Or
no, just like on Zoom.
Okay.
And it's kind of works the same. It's, I came in, it's been established for a long time. So they do like a passport and you get stamps and there are little prizes. I did like goodie bags for people. I ran out of goodie bags this year. And then you get your stamps and depending on how many stamps you get entered into a gift card giveaway. So you can win a gift card from every store. And then the next step is all the stores have gift baskets, even though my gift basket didn't come together this year. Mostly the stores have gift baskets and you can enter your passport too into winning gift baskets if you like pick your store that you want to win a gift basket from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of promotes everybody and did it bring in people, customers?
Yeah, it's huge. It's really nice. And there's so many people who come, like I had people who came to Boston, like there was like 2 friends from like New Jersey who came to Boston just for the yarn crawl. Like they were just like, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And there are a few other people who said that. And so it's just a cool, I don't know, it brings in more people. And like I am trying to bring in, I feel like I have the opposite problem of every other yarn store where like my customers are so young, which is wonderful. Yeah. And I love it. Yeah. And it's like nice. Like I've made friends. It's really cool. But I am trying to get the like older lady crowd.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of
funny.
Yeah.
You have the opposite problem with most yarn stores.
Yeah.
Although there was some research that H&H presented about the ages of people who knit and crochet and their buying habits. And the youngest sort of demographic was actually a really big.
Yeah. I mean, they buy a lot of yarn. And I've heard, and like, I mean, a lot of people here, like we're going on a group trip to Rhinebeck and like, we've been like planning our outfits and planning our buying list and like, what are we buying for? Who are we excited for? So they're very much like involved in our shopping.
Yeah. And they're probably very online.
They're very online. Like we have a Discord. There's like a Ravelry group. So people are like constantly talking.
Yeah. So that's for your store.
For our store.
For your store. Yeah. And the Ravelry group for your store.
Yeah. And they, so it's very involved and they're really loyal. They come to everything, but they also go to other knitting groups and they're involved in like Zoom knitting groups. So they're really loyal to like our store, but they're also like happy to go other places. So it's a good group of people.
And my guess is that because they're so online, they're very familiar with specific designers, specific indie dyers.
Yes.
Like,
they have people they love.
Celebrities of the yarn world, et cetera. So
yeah, they're very, very familiar.
They're a very like educated consumer in that way.
Yeah. And they're very much like buying patterns that are trendy patterns and making them and spending like a lot of money on the yarn. They're buying really good yarn for their patterns. They're really interested in indie dyed yarn. or, and I also have noticed a trend of they're much more interested in, they're like very eco-conscious. So there's definitely more of a trend towards like non-superwash, even non-merino type things. Yeah.
Yeah. More natural fiber.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
That you have all these young people who are super into this and are spending their,
it's really cool
income on it and are finding each other friendships with our community.
Yeah. It's great.
Here.
Yeah. It's really nice. I mean, like, I love watching like friendships form in the group. And I've had such a nice time like making friends in the group. When I opened the store, it was post-COVID and like a lot of my friends had moved, and my roommate, I had moved in with my parents because my roommate moved to like Texas, and I was just like here all alone. Yeah. And so it was really nice to like rebuild a community just for myself, like in the store, but also just for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Anything I didn't ask about that's important, or I should have asked about, or you wanted to talk about?
I don't know. No.
Okay. Sometimes I'm like, did I skip a question?
No, okay.
Good. All right. That's great. So I'd love to get to your recommendations if you don't mind.
Okay.
So, so tell us about something you might recommend to a creative friend.
Oh, so this is like not a great recommendation because I don't know what it's from, but I got this notebook.
Okay.
Well, it's from, let me see. It's from Happy Sappy Mail. I bought it in Canada, but they have an Etsy shop. And it's 100 Good Days planner. And I love it because it's a planner without dates. Okay. And I think I get so wrapped up in like getting things done. And like you just pick a day and you put all your things that you're going to do in the day. And there's like pages for like notes and you make your big goals. And I found it just really helpful. I'm definitely like, personally, it's really hard for me to like look at my computer and get a visual of what I'm doing for the day. But having it written down and just the process of writing it down is so nice. Yeah. And this is just like kind of low commitment.
Right. Because if you skip a day, you're not like, oops, March 15th is blank.
Yeah. Like I can just
go to the next page and skip a week.
Yeah.
It's completely fine.
Yeah. It's also been very helpful for me to not overdo it on everything I have to get done. Because I'll give myself a big long to-do list and then it's like my to-do list has 100 tasks on it. And like I absolutely can't do that in one day. So I guess I'll just like take a nap instead. And so
Right. You just give up. Entirely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. And do you have anything else that you would like to recommend? That's a good one for sure.
I mean, just like a book recommendation. So we have a book club. Actually, I should have talked about the book club, but yeah, we have Romantic Yarns is our romance book club, which is mostly just an excuse for me to make everybody read romance and talk to me about the book I'm reading. But a year ago, we read The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen by KJ Charles, and it's just consistently our favorite book. We just keep talking about how much we loved it. So I just really recommend that book.
Okay. Yeah. That is a good recommendation.
It's just like a little queer Regency romance. It's
nice.
Really good.
Yeah. That sounds great. Well, this has been so nice, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to be on the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. You've been listening to the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Today's episode was brought to you by Big Cartel. The holiday selling season is right around the corner. It's a great time of year to turn your creativity into a business. Sell your work with Big Cartel, an e-commerce platform where artists, crafters, and independent sellers make money doing what they love. You can sell your crafts and creations online through your very own web store or in person at holiday markets and craft fairs. With no listing fees or commission, budget-friendly plans, and real human customer support, Big Cartel makes it simple and affordable to start and grow your creative business online. Thank you so much, Big Cartel. Craft Industry Alliance is a community for craft professionals. When you become a member of Craft Industry Alliance, you get in-depth coverage of craft industry news, the opportunity to connect with fellow professionals for advice and support, and access to an educational library filled with ideas, tools, and resources to help you as you build your business. So join us at craftindustryalliance.org. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.